This team has fallen short every single season since they won the chip back in 08. If Tatum wants the world to respect him for the GOAT player that he says he is, he's got to earn that right here, right now. It feels like another year where it's the same damn problem for this Celtics team. If that three ball's not dropping, you can beat this team so easily. It's how we lost to Golden State in the finals, and pretty much every other time we've even gotten remotely close to the finals, and it's likely why we're going to fall short again this year.
Are you sure about that?
The Celtics bounce back authoritatively in Game 3.
As the Boston Celtics come to Cleveland, they have taken command of the series.
The Celtics are so back. I mean, kind of. I don't really feel that great after this one, despite coming away with the W. Boston didn't exactly get rid of all my concerns after this one. But I guess a win is a win. So, we up! The Boston Celtics faced off against the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road in Game 4, and coming into this one, I was feeling pretty good. They bounced back well in Game 3 to go up 2-1 in the series. It just felt like Boston was back, so I was feeling pretty confident that that was going to continue into Game 4. This game just felt like a must-win for Cleveland. Really, like this was their Game 7, and now the series goes back to Boston with a chance for the C's to advance to the next round with home court advantage. Now, probably the biggest thing about this game, I know people are probably wondering why I haven't brought it up yet. Donovan Mitchell did not play in this game, so even if the Celtics did win, there was always going to be an asterisk next to it. But like I said, I didn't really love how the Celtics played this game. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. They didn't really play that great. More so, Cleveland played really well. You would think without their lead scorer on the court, this Boston team would be able to come into Cleveland and run them out of town. But that really wasn't the case. Like, at all. Cleveland made this a game all the way to the final whistle. They even took a lead about halfway through the third quarter and even made a scary run at the end of the fourth that made me question if Boston was actually going to win this one or not. I was expecting Boston to do their classic choke job to a team that's not as good as them, but to my surprise, they didn't. They actually came out with the W. So good job, Celtics, for doing exactly what everyone expects you to do. Jason Tatum feels back, like all the way back, at least compared to what he's been doing in the playoffs so far. I know that I was super critical of him in the last Celtics video I made. Now for probably one of the biggest glaring issues, especially this year's playoffs, Jason Tatum. It's like he's one of those basketball players from Space Jam that got the fucking talent sucked out of him before going into the postseason. But now I'll happily shut my ass up because JT's back, and thank God he is. He was just great in Game 4. He ended the night with 33 points, 5 assists, and 11 rebounds. He was really doing everything, and it was just nice to see him back. I'm just so happy that he's figured everything out because it was really concerning for a minute there. Jaylen Brown also had a night putting up 27. When those two players are playing like that, they're likely going to win the game. They're stars for a reason, and we're paying them like that, so they should be playing like stars. Drew Holiday also had a solid outing with 16 points. It's just nice to have other players that can contribute to the scoring outside of the Jays, even though it's usually been Derek White, who had an oddly quiet night with just 5, but the stars did what we're paying the stars to do: carry the workload when everyone else really isn't churning at the highest level. I will say Cleveland did an absolutely great job at spreading the scoring around all over the place. Now, there was an outlier there, but all across the board, everyone got their touches and made an impact on the scoring. It feels like it was a whole team effort, and I'll give them the credit, they sure as hell made it a close one. Darius Garland is a dog. I mean, we all knew it, but he was the reason that they stuck around tonight. We all knew that he was a good player, but without Mitchell on the court, he was really able to shine through. He was really effective scoring and ended the night with 30 points. Evan Mobley had another good night with 19, and I will say this, he's really made it clear just how much we're missing KP, at least when it comes to the offensive production from the big. Now, Luke Cornett is a good player, I'm not shitting on him, and he's probably playing the best basketball of his entire career. He's done a good job for filling in for Porzingis, but he's not him. Al Horford is also filling in there, and he's still a solid player, but you can just tell that he's not quite the player he once was. Especially in Game 4, there were a lot of open look threes that he got, and he hit none of them. Those buckets are the difference between squeezing out a close win and having a little bit of a cushion to close it out. We really needed him to hit them, and he didn't. Luckily, we got away with this one though. But regardless of how those two played, we went out and paid Porzingis for a reason. Now, I feel like this game was much closer than it ever really needed to be. At times, I was legit sweating over whether or not Boston was going to let this one go. It really reminded me a lot of a game we played earlier in the season against the Lakers when they were without LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And somehow, some way, we lost the game and Austin Reeves put up 32 points on our asses. It just feels like at times we play down to our opponents. This was really a game that we could have made a statement. They were without their top scorer, and instead, we barely squeezed out a dub. Just because D. Mitchell wasn't out there doesn't mean we don't have to play as hard. We really have to get rid of that tendency. Now, I know throughout the entire regular season, we didn't lose to a single team that didn't end up making the playoffs outside of, the Hawks, if you don't count the play-in. But the Celtics feel like they're starting to get known for taking their foot off the gas a little bit too early, and that's come back to bite them in the ass in the past. Now, I know I'm complaining super hard for a W. I am grateful, and I am grateful for this team. Thank you for a dub, because now we get to go back to Boston and probably close this thing out for good, regardless of if Donovan Mitchell plays or not. But barely scraping by a team without their star player is just not sitting well with me. What's gonna happen when we finally face a healthy team that matches up perfectly with us? Are we gonna play like we did tonight? Because I promise you anybody in the West is gonna beat us by 30 points if we do. Now, it doesn't really feel like any real challenge is gonna come to the Celtics, at least from a matchup perspective, until the finals with whoever comes out of the West. Both the Knicks and Pacers feel a little bit beat up right now, so I think Boston should be able to clear whoever comes out of that series. OG Anunoby was out last game dealing with some hamstring injuries. He'll likely be back. I don't think it's like anything super serious, but regardless, the Knicks are tired, and you can tell. And you can really tell with how the Pacers have been able to bounce back and tie up that series. Anything can happen there, but like I said, I do think that whoever advances there, the Celtics can clear. But whoever comes out of the West is going to be the big challenge, no matter who it is. Every single team over there, I feel like can compete with the Celtics. I know last video I boosted the fuck out of the Timberwolves, but I'm sorry, Denver Nuggets. I did not mean to count you guys out. They're all the way back, it seems like, too. I knew the Denver Nuggets were a great team. Of course, they're coming off of winning an NBA championship, but those first two games, Minnesota looked like they had your number. But I was wrong. Everyone seemed to be wrong. They're back, and who knows what's going to happen in that series. Regardless of who wins that series, I think that's probably who's going to end up in the finals. And whoever does that is going to be a dog, and the Celtics have to be healthy and playing at their best once they get there. OKC and Dallas has also been a fun series to watch. Feels like the young Thunder are kind of on their heels right now against the experienced stars of Dallas, so I'm really excited to see how that series closes out. I kind of got that game on right now, actually. Like I said last video, all of those teams can win a chip. There's no question about that. And I believe Boston can too, but we haven't really seen a full strength roster with Porzingis since game 4 when he got injured against the Heat. I feel much more confident about our potential of winning a championship this year when he's on the floor. Let's just hope he comes back soon. But I'm hoping that this is finally our year. It has to be. It has to be. It has to be, right? It feels like anything short of a finals appearance is a flop on the year, regardless of what we accomplished during the regular season, because we all know that we were great then, but we've always been good in the regular season. That's not the problem with the Celtics. The problem with the Celtics is breaking through and winning that ring, something that we haven't done since 2008. I was 8 years old. I'm 24 now. I'm a grown man, kind of. I think this is the year that they need to win it all, because it really does feel like championship or bust.